running as an offensive sniper and you have to worry about not one, but two on the other side, how does that affect how you approach the situation?
On Temple of Anubis, I would say it's a little more favored to run this Widow Genji. I like it a little bit more from Japan here because Tayo is going to have free reign. Those deflections so dangerous against the Hanzo and the Widow, really applying a lot of pressure as well as the Dragon Blades.
Tayo almost getting picked off early. That was a quick strike coming in from Taimu, and both Taimu and Lynx are already building a little bit up. They had good sight lines in the beginning, and now I think they're going to back a bit up, and they're going to be keeping an eye on Taimu. Oh man, that was almost a pick onto the Zed.
Putting a ton of pressure on is Taimu. Back on Widowmaker, I'd love to see it. Tayo, though, getting in the flank, getting a bit of spam damage here.
Taimu being pretty far up for Widowmaker as far as Temple of Anubis goes, but part of this is that it actually doesn't give Tayo that easy flank in on the Widow that you normally see when Widows are perched up towards the back.
Tayo dropping very low, manages to escape back to his supports, but Linkser as well, putting in a ton of spam damage. This high ground position is so dangerous to oppose a Hanzo.
Man, it looks like they're going to dive in, but their tanks are super low. Finland's done a great job, and oh, what a shot on the Tayo. Linkser had Taimu's back, and now he's out for blood, dives on in, gets Salagod, and oh, he's going to get death. He does! Linkser gets 4!
Linkser absolutely on fire here on defense, proving me completely wrong. Japan wasn't ready for him playing that high ground position, shut down from behind there, and then Linkser, of course, fearlessly pushing forward into the spawn. Kedmo has to go back. We're probably going to see a class swap to get the rematch here.
Speaking of fearless, that was fearless from Taimu, just going straight up to the archway going, you know what, is anyone else going to peek their head? I will shoot anyone. Finland, though, they get to fully reset, and they're going to have Infrasight up.
Taimu here proving his worth. Already has an Infrasight ready. Dep only at 47%. This is a major advantage for Finland in this fight.
See Taimu just holding back, looking for any quick pickoffs. Has Dep in his sights. Doesn't want Dep to move free. And Dep is respecting the Infrasight. Meanwhile, Linkser's not respecting anything. Lays in the arrows, gets rid of the Diva mech. And again, this is just going to delay Japan so much.
Great awareness by Linkser, sets up the Sonic to sort of keep that Infrasight flowing. This double Infrasight ability is such an enabling power spike for this double sniper setup of Finland.
And when you have all this sight info, how does Dep work around this aside from doing what he did, just waiting?
The struggle for Dep here is he needs to get his own Infrasight, but it's so hard to peek damage. We can see him there, jumping on the right side, not able to find any safe peeks, constantly threatened by the double sniper.
Dep's finally making his move, and that's because Tayo's coming in from the flank, but every time Tayo even tries to move in, someone hits him. It's been a very rough go for Tayo to get him full HP, and now here comes the Dragon from Linkser, buying more time. Fraggy, though, falls, so the Dragon not quite as effective. Dep finally strikes, and he gets another as Dep opens things up here for Japan, then finally found a way through.
And I think Dep also leading in with a headshot on Fraggy to make that initial pick possible. Finland, though, very disciplined, using nothing of their ultimates, very much ready to stop the snowball on second point. They have a big advantage. Japan, not with the traditional snowball that you expect after capping first point.
Well, the problem is, especially for Japan, is that, okay, you have a Dragon Blade, but you know Shaz has a Transcendence, so as a Genji, how do you approach the situation? Because throwing the blade into a Transcendence wall can trade out the ultimate doesn't feel good from the Genji perspective.
Well, you really want to rely on your Winston and Diva to force that Transcendence early before you commit the Dragon Blade. It's so risky to require that damage boost for the one-shots, you know. It doesn't always work out, and if you find yourself without a dash, it's almost impossible to get a kill.
So they do, they get Taimu early on. Now he doesn't have to worry about the Brigitte. Tayo holding back. Note that Chaz still holding on to the Transcendence, so he's going to try and hold on to his blade as long as possible. You see Fraggy making space in the back line. Japan, though, fairly composed here so far. Tayo, though, takes a lot of pressure. Needs to get out of the way of Fraggy, who almost picked him off. Japan still with all 6 up, and now the blade comes on out. He's immediately punished. Linkser was there. Taimu with the stun. And Finland, they deal with the blade and get back onto the point.
And I'm surprised to see Sabagod committing the Transcendence here. Japan dumping everything into this fight. If they lose, it will be very costly, but the kills are going their way.
It's not too bad here for Japan as Dep continues his reign on the sides, picks up 2, looking for more. No one's dealing with Dep right now. Gonna get the D-Mech. He's clean up for Japan, but he gets knocked pretty low. He's gonna be out of the fight for a little bit here, but it still might not matter. Samurai under pressure. Can he get healed up? He's still in it. And Finland giving up a lot of room. Dep pulse bomb out. Not going to get as much as he wants, but Linkser's fallen. However, you take a look at Chaz. He swapped to the Tracer, and he's been getting enough here to push Japan back. Ends up with 3.
Chaz, we've seen this in the Overwatch League, and he brings it out in the World Cup. One of the best DPS players in the one of the best support players at flexing to that DPS in the Overwatch League, making it work here.
You know, it kind of reminds me of your time on LG Evil with Super when back in the day you'd see him just go, I am a Ryan player, but I'm going to go Tracer. This is fine.
You know, sometimes you just got to bring out the quad DPS. Show them something they've never seen before.
It's like, wait, no, they have seen it before. They've seen it in any ladder game they've ever played.
Yeah, well, you know, they're not always ready for the high skill, but Lynx are getting super aggro with this Hanzo. I love this play with no mercy on the side of Japan. Again, looking for any pick could really cut the clock for Japan.
Lynx are holding on back, looking for the Winston. Almost gets him. Samurai D under pressure. One more arrow's going to do it. He's able to get out of the way just in the nick of time. And now you see Lynxer going around the right-hand side, looking for the Tracer. And the Tracer knows he's there, so you see the back and forth here. It's going to pressure the Tracer out. Tayo, meanwhile, not able to get anything as Lynxer's just a wall of force right now.
But at the same time, all this damage, not finding any kills. Sabagod very close to his Nano Boost. A Nano Blade could be very scary here. Oh, but Lynxer finds the pick on Def. I'd be surprised if Japan commits on this.
This has been so good from Lynxer, where you see him just looking at the different positionings here. Middle, right, and it's just shutting down an entire avenue of attack for Japan.
The Hanzo's so strong at just spamming down these lanes.
Okay, Japan, so now they're going to regroup. They still have the Dragon Blade up, and Shaz does have a Transcendence. This is a window for Japan.
Certainly, Shaz really needs to build up this charge very quickly, but we've also seen Taimu stuff the Dragon Blade before. The Nano certainly helps against that, though.
All right, Japan getting in on the attack here once more. Tayo, of course, he could get the Nano Boost heading on in. The Nano Blade, Japan's one way in. But Tayo getting person down. If he falls, that's the end to everything here. Gets healed up at the last moment, but Shaz is now getting way closer to Transcendence. Sabagod's down. No Nano Boost applied.
Lynxer, what a crucial pick. That could be the round saver here. This is going to be a complete snowball for Finland. They understand with that. With no Ana, they can dive almost all the way to the spawn here, getting very aggressive and finishing off all of that ult charge that they were missing last fight.
And if there's a window there, Jake, it just slams shut. Look at Shaz. He's going to have Transcendence for the next fight.
Yeah, Japan, though, with the Nano Blade, they do have the potential to go for those one-shots on 200 HP targets. Can be a way to deal with the Transcendence, but certainly puts a ton of pressure on Tayo to perform perfectly.
Finland going to be holding further back. They also have the Dragon Strike from Lynxer to just make the approach even tougher. Samurai D, look at how much he got poked on entry there.
And almost all 6 ults available for Finland. Things are looking rough for them. Committing the Nano early. Dragon Blade comes out. He's going to find Lynxer, but can he get more?
Well, you just got to get rid of Lynxer. I suppose that's what you do. They're going to demech the Diva. It's a nice initiation so far here from Japan. They get the opening 2 pickoffs. Happens. Press back up. Can they deny it? They do! He's not able to get back into the mech. Tayo right on top of it, but the Dragon coming out from spawn from Lynxer does enough. And now Lynxer swaps the Doofus right after. That's why the Dragon disappeared. Taimu on the Regina, diving on in, rocket flail, slamming its way through. And Japan is going to be down to its final 34 seconds.
And Claire committing that rally. That's going to be a crucial ultimate that they'll miss for this last fight. Lynxer on the Doofus. I wonder if he'll continue to play it. Maybe go back to that Hanzo, try and get another one of those spam picks that he's been so consistent with. No, I like this choice. Stay on that Doomfist. Now that Japan is forced to rush to point, you can't clear all the corners that you'd hope to. This is where a Doomfist really gets maximum value.
Lynxer is just going to be sneaking over there, and I'm not sure Japan has had time to really adapt to this. This could be a big surprise, even though they saw it on the last push.
At least they've scouted him. That's a big win for them on the side of Japan. They're going to be able to get to the point without losing any so far. But the punch comes in.
Gets it, but it's going to be answered by the self-destruct, and in that situation should cover the remech. Gets back into the mech. Japan still with the full 6. Lynxer going to be removing Samurai D a bit for the point, ends up falling to death. But Tayo falls to the other end. Taimu coming in with the rocket flail, swinging it down, and Finland might have done enough here, even as Def is still fighting. Finland respawns are coming back on in. Japan falling one by one here, and Finland on the verge of taking the map and series. They just need a little bit more, and they get it. Finland finishes out 10-1 Nukes.
At least taking defense here. They still have a chance to. They still have to attack. You know, produce the same amount of progress that Japan did. Of course, Finland giving up a couple ticks there on second point. That could turn things around. You know, not every team has been able to get even a tick on that second point. We've seen a lot of draws in this map. Here we see Lynxer absolutely lighting it up here on first point.
Lynxer, of course, having a good day here, and this is probably his most impressive moment where he ends up with more. Of course, as we swap rounds, it's going to be interesting to see what Japan ends up doing here, where of course their only true path to victory is going to be getting that first point hold.
They can still defend second point with less progress, as long as they don't give up that. It's actually, given that Japan has moved past 1 tick of progress, it's almost impossible to get a draw here because you know, that I think they cap something like 69-70% of the point. It'll be impossible based on the tick situation for Finland to draw. It's either a win or a loss here on Temple of Anubis, and if you're Japan, you need to get a win. This is your map choice, and this is arguably where they've had the strongest performances so far in the tournament. So we need to see a big hold here coming in from Japan.
Of course, one thing they're going to be going for here, and we saw a little bit of this yesterday with Chinese Taipei, and certainly plenty of teams like to run it, the Orisa here on point A defense.
I certainly like this setup. I think it's just so difficult to play around. It's not a question of the comp being unbeatable, but any one of your DPS, the Junkrat, the Widow, and sometimes even the Diva or the Orisa can find those picks and just completely stuff a push. And honestly, attacking into this setup is so frustrating. You're being picked time and time again. You don't usually lose the fight when you get to take it, but you just get picked so often, it can be really frustrating. So Finland's gonna have to keep their composure here, get the perfect setup before they commit on the dive.
Of course, as Japan sits up here, it is that double threat, right? Where you got the Junkrat up in front, you got Depp in the back, and of course Samurai D is going to be keeping up shields to mostly help Depp to a degree, but we'll see how this works out if Taimu's able to find a way through. But Linkser going to be opened up here on the Genji.
Really, it's up to Linkser here. He's the one who needs to be getting behind, making a major distraction. If you can pull players from Japan back from the front, that's what gets your tanks through the choke.
Depp going on right now, looking for the early Widow pick, and he's not going with the shield. In fact, he's freelancing a little bit, and that can be dangerous because, of course, it is that one pick margin. Now, though, look at tanks, gets Big Goose! Big Goose wasn't expecting the Widow to be there.
Nice sideline from Depp there. Understands that Finland's going to be mostly focused on his Orisa.
Depp holding on the ground floor here. Linkser's already dealt with Samurai D, but Claire is there for the resurrection, so they're going to have to do that one more time. Depp holding back.
Not finding the connections there. Linkser, though, 60% on that Dragon Blade. He's ahead of Sabagod's Transcendence. That's a really impactful difference here if Linkser can keep up this pressure.
See Depp just deciding to hold a little bit further back here. Not getting the sidelines looking for, but also Finland a little bit discombobulated how they approach, but they get Kenmo out.
Oh,
the poke is successful.
No resurrect.
Yeah, Taimu was right there for it, and now he gets Depp as well. Taimu opens it up here for Finland, and Linkser going to be able to get the last little bit of cleanup, and more importantly, he's going to build up the blade for the push on point B.
Dragon Blade ready here. Very interesting to see. Will Finland try to commit to this first fight on second point, or will they take a more slow, tactical approach, try to get that Transcendence out before you make a commitment? Tayo with the Riptire, that can be a really dangerous thing to Dragon Blade into, especially the Junkrat able to hold very passive on that back right side. Depth, though, finds Taimu. That's going to slow Finland down.
Yeah, Finland, I think, would have liked to have just immediately rushed on in, but I think Taimu might actually swap here. Even though he has Infosight, we'll see what he... Oh, no, he's not going to do it. They get the rest, so he's definitely going to be saying it. Use the Infosight. And it's a really early tire. I think Taimu should be able to punish this. I don't think this is going to be able to get what it's looking for. It'd be great for Japan if it did, but 1 second left. The tire does nothing. Well, it got a Venom Mine.
Got a Venom Mine. Tayo's showing
Success.
a little bit of inexperience there on the Junkrat. You don't want to be popping the Riptire until Finland is in the double bind scenario. There, they're just able to retreat, and just basically one ultimate down only costs you a few seconds off the clock.
Linkser, meanwhile, has the Dragon Blade. They get Samurai D, and now Linkser's ready to go in. Now, bear in mind, Transcendence is up here, so I don't think Linkser wants to use Dragon Blade immediately. Self-destructive Kenmo, not going to get anything. Linkser being very patient. They get Depp out of the fight. And now Sabagod, even before the Transcend, not enough targets to make it as worthwhile. But Finland, they've already got one tick. Japan needs to go in.
So much pressure on Samurai D. He's not close to that ultimate. Claire dropping low, and the Transcendence forced out. It's all eyes on Linkser here. This Dragon Blade could be absolutely clutch.
One Dragon Blade for another. Linkser moves in, gets Saba looking for more. Winston on the brink, and Finland gonna be doing enough here. They bring it on forward, and they take Temple Anubis away from Japan. 3-0.
Finland just looked absolutely clinical on that second point offense.
And it's sort of, we talk about ult economy after point A. Linkser was in a very good spot there where after they took point A, he had the blade up. But more importantly, he also showed patience as they went into point B, where he didn't just go immediately pop it. They waited to get a 1-2-man advantage, and then they used it to secure out the fight.
This is a crucial part of the Genji metagame here, attacking second point. You're such a powerful character at contesting that initial high ground orch that you saw Samurai D fall on initially. I don't think he was ready for Linkser to be poking him from behind like that, getting that early pick, but you see how aware Finland is of that power spot on the map. They take control of the high ground. They establish Taimu as a presence on the map, forcing sort of all of the backline of Japan to hide in positions that they don't want to be playing. Then Linkser able to clinically move on to point, force the Transcendence without committing his Dragon Blade, and then it's just cleanup from from there.
And one thing we saw consistently coming out from Finland as well is that Finland, they've been the tank destroyers. Even when they haven't been running the quad tank setups, it's been a tough day to be Samurai D or Kenmo because every time they dive on in, they're the first targets. Finland immediately focus fires, they get them out of the fight immediately, and then that gives their tank so much more room to maneuver.
Finland certainly showing their experience here. You know, in the Overwatch League, I think in the beginning and then in stage 1, stage 2, it was a little bit easier to get aggressive, get fancy as a solo player, or maybe with just a little segment of your team, like just say a Winston and a Diva. But now the meta is so developed where teams are focusing those players so aggressively, you need to be going all as one. And we've seen Japan do that a couple times. They were able to get some wins on that first point icon wall defense with those coordinated team play aggressions, but we need more of that out of them. Right now, their tanks are just getting punished way too hard by Finland.
So I have to ask here, as we look to the final map, is it going to be Rialto?
I certainly hope so. It's been the great equalizer, but no, it's going to be Gibraltar here. Perhaps the time to let Deb shine. First time we've seen Gibraltar here at the Overwatch World Cup group stage Incheon, but here, this is where the Widow duel is going to be absolutely massive. And if you haven't seen an escort map before, here's how it works.
This is escort. Two teams face off as either defenders or attackers. This is the payload. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to escort the payload along a set path containing 3 checkpoints. The payload only moves forward when an attacker stands near it. Defenders can delay the payload's movement by standing nearby at the same time. To get moving again, attackers must clear away the defenders by force. Every time the payload reaches a checkpoint, the attackers score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. If even one attacker is near the payload when the clock runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until the attackers are either cleared off the payload or they gain more time by reaching a checkpoint. The round ends when the payload reaches the destination or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points and escorts the payload farthest wins.
And we're here on Gibraltar. First time we're seeing it here in the Overwatch World Cup, and Gibraltar is very interesting where I think you bring Finland here. It's definitely not a map that you like running the super tank heavy setups on. It's definitely more about dive, it's more about your Widow players, so this pick does make sense coming out from Japan.
It's certainly a map where it's very hard to assist your Widowmaker. We've talked a lot about how teams can get aggressive with their Winston Diva, maybe a Tracer as well to aid in a Widowmaker duel that may be disadvantaged for them, but Gibraltar is very different. These sight lines, especially on first point, are so long, it's almost impossible to help your team in that regard. Sometimes it's really just all up to your Widow, and we've seen Linkser especially be completely on fire, unstoppable on this map, securing first point holds almost all on his own.
And you know, the funny thing about Hanzo on this map as well, when it's been played, is that Hanzo was played on this map back when Hanzo was basically never played. This is actually, if Hanzo had a home map, it's not Hanamura, it's Gibraltar.
Certainly, this is a classic spot for Hanzo. The wall climb so impactful with all the verticality on Gibraltar. And now with the lateral jump, you're able to make more high ground contests than you were previously, especially on second point. Taimo here, very passive in second point. He's looking to counter swap what Japan pulls out. But I think given Japan's comp, he'll stay with the Brigette.
Japan rolling on out, MRD on the Winston. And, you know, usually you don't see teams really invest too much onto the defense at the first point. Why do teams hold further back here in Gibraltar?
You don't want to get that close to the enemy spawn. There's too many angles for the Widowmaker when you push through the choke. You want to force the attackers to move through the choke. And we see right here the power of the Brigette up on that blue box. Lynx are able to stay right behind that shield, not scared to take those extremely long duels with Widowmaker when he has Taimu's shield to protect him.
Finland now going to apply a little bit more pressure. The payload's gotten underneath the car wash, as it's sometimes called, and now it's going to be heading into Finland territory. Dep, heavy aggression for the Widow, ground floor Widow. Meanwhile, though, Linkser was able to get Claire, dominating space, getting Dep, and this might just be Linkser City.
Perfect pincer play from Fraggy there. Forces Claire to dash back right into the waiting arms of Linkser, and he picks up Dep as well. Linkser going very aggressive here, finding a lot of headshots. I don't think they're going to be ready for this early Dragon Strike. Can be impactful even without a combo in tight corridors.
And he gets it. Dragon Strike is now up. That's the power when you're chunking tanks as hard as Linkser is right now. You can summon the Dragon a lot earlier than your opponents might expect, and I think you're exactly right. Japan's going to be caught off guard by this.
Certainly if they go into any of these enclosed areas, especially on the low ground, this could be a major risk, or just force them to drop off this high ground. That can be a very valuable use of the Dragon Strike.
Fraggy looking a little bit more aggressive, putting pressure on Dep on the backside. Link's still holding here behind the Brigitte, and you know the thing is, even though you got the ultimate early, you don't have to use it right away. You can wait for the right opportunity.
Certainly, and there's no real combos for the side of Finland, so it's really just up to Linkser to find a space where Japan gets caught out. But Tayo finds Shaz. This is a major opening, and Depp shuts down Linkser.
Depp gets shuts down more than that, gets Big Goose on the other end. He finally opens things up here for Japan. And now Finland, of course, they can still fight this back, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. Tayo, though, builds up Dragon Blade, but Taimu's right in his face, shuts him down with the bash combo, and the self-destruct from Zappis buys enough room. The Dragon Strike from Linkser, I think he thought the situation would be a little bit more hairy than it actually was, but Finland is in the process of getting back in and reestablishing the defense, but they just lost Shaz.
Just losing Shaz, but still, Taimu and Big was able to work together. Still 2 supports to work with on the side of Finland, and so much armor on everybody. Shaz now back up with Resurrection. Tayo's Dragon Blade, though, finds Linkser. Can he get more?
Tayo looking for it, but no, Taimu's right there. He stuns him, can't finish off the kill, and as a result, you see Linkser out of the fight. Japan still working with a little bit more of an advantage here. Fraggy, though, in the back line. Transcendence from Shaz comes out, gets Fraggy back to full HP. And that's going to give Finland so much more time here. Tayo can't do anything. You see Taimu a little bit deep, punish. It's very back and forth right now.
Linkser, though, back in the Widowmaker, finds Claire. That's a massive pick. So many heals falling on the side of Japan, though.
Depp, though, gets Linkser from the top. Ooh, just bumped right away from Zappis. This has been trading from one team to another, but the key difference is that Finland has always kept someone on the point. Japan has been stalled out here for the last minute.
Great tank play from the side of Finland, always trading out those kills. Depp finds 2, but is completely shut down by this aggressive movement from Zappis and Fraggy. And now, those 2, with their ultimates ready, gonna zone Depp out of this fight. It's gonna be really hard for Depp to contest the Primal Rage and the Self-Destruct.
Fraggy holding up Primal Rage, looking for Genji. Of course, Winston might be Genji's natural predator. Zappis somehow got Saba. That was a nicely thrown self-destruct. Got him hiding in the underpass, and Finland continuing to apply the pressure right now. 23 seconds left for Japan.
And Depp with very low infrasight charge. You'd love to have that pushing into this final offense, but it's Linkser with the advantage. Taimu coming up on the rally. This is going to be really tough to get through for Tayo's Dragon Blade.
Tayo holding on to the blade, and we'll see if he can be the hero that Japan needs right now, because if he's not, his payload is going to stop right here. Blade ready. Winston leaps in. Tayo pulls out the blade. They got Linkser immediately. That's nice. Tayo looking for more. Gets Big Goose, and he's... Oh, Shaz! What a turnaround! Got Tayo. Stopped him. And now there's an opportunity here for Finland. Shaz builds up the Transcendence mid-fight because he was able to deal with the Genji. Keeps Finland nice and healthy. Self-destruct from Japan. Clears a little bit of room, and yet Finland still able to maintain control of the point. Fraggy in trouble, in a lot of hurt, but he's able to stay alive. Goes around the backhand side, but it's Samurai D with the Primal Rage. Knocks Finland around. Japan still surviving. Finland about to give it up, and Japan might just get point A, and they're gonna be doing just that.
Great blade from Tayo there to open it up. Does get shut down by Shaz, but that Mercy pick proving to be enough. Japan getting very aggressive here, chasing down these late spawners from Finland. Gibraltar, a map where it's very difficult to get out of this second point spawn if you spawn before first point is capped.
And the back and forth there between both teams, that was a really nice defense coming in from Finland for the most part. How did Finland just keep up the dominance there?
I'm exhausted, honestly. Just so many frags going both ways, but I have to give it to the tanks from Finland. Staying alive for so long in these fights just makes a huge impact. Depp, though, hiding on this angle, waiting for Linkser.
He's looking for anything, gets Big Goose! The biggest pick you can get, the Mercy on the other side, but Linkser returns fire, stops Depp from opening things up. Now there is no res for the Finland side, but it's not gonna matter. They've done enough. Zappis with the self-destruct, cleared enough room, and Taimu just rolling his way in, makes it 3 off that rocket flail.
Great rally by Taimu. Everyone's going to be working with another full armor stack here on the defense. Shaz sitting on 300 HP. Linkser able to take a full headshot from Depp. This is going to be really difficult to break through.
And what does it mean for a defense when you're able to reestablish on Gibraltar second? Because oftentimes it's difficult to overcome the momentum advantage an offense might have.
This right here is one of the most difficult holds to break in the game. The second point chokehold. We see Samurai D going in very early, but takes that headshot from Linkser under a ton of pressure from the tanks.
Linkser laying in the damage from the right-hand side, looking for the tank. Claire falls, Fraggy found a way in, and Tayo was trying to be sneaky, but it was a combination of Shaz and Linkser that just stops his aggression on the point, and Fraggy goes, okay, I guess I'll back up a little bit now. It's fine.
Doesn't want to commit any deeper, but we see how dangerous it is. Look, this Winston just playing this high ground position. No matter where Japan choose to push from, Fraggy is always going to be assaulting their backline. As soon as those tanks move in, you'll see Fraggy attacking the Widow, attacking the Zenyatta, denying them the shots that they want to be taking.
Infocyte now up from Linkser. Linkser, again, just looking for easy damage right now on Japan. You have a Tracer up and on him, but he's going to back away. He goes, you know what, I don't want to take that right now. Oh, he has an opportunity to get Zen and almost pushed back. Can't fight it. The Zen pushes him into the middle, and Fraggy went a little bit deep. I think he was expecting a little bit more contribution. Suddenly Japan with an opportunity. Tayo going back, drops a pulse bomb. Not going to get anything. He needed a bit more.
Jazz with the Transcendence could be a major trump card here in this fight, although 2 support ults available for Japan.
Tayo pressuring to the back, looking for Taimu. Taimu's down, Saba was there. Tayo still full HP, clip after clip being laid into the tanks now as Japan now getting a bit of momentum. Big Goose blown up, and Japan with a little bit of teeth as they try to bite into point B.
Big Goose shut down just before he finishes charging his Valkyrie. That could be a second point capture for Japan. All the kill feed is white here, so they are going to be taking this second point. Although in overtime, not much to work with going into third.
And yet, there's still hope. A minute 25 left. We've seen teams do more with less as Japan now just needs to get about 2 good fights, I would say, to bring this to the very end.
Certainly 2 good fights are necessary. They're looking tough. Samurai D making the swap onto Reinhardt. Wants to go with the slower composition here. This is going to make the low ground battle much easier for Japan, but at the same time, it's going to be very hard to put pressure on Linkser. Depth, though, hiding in the flank. Unscouted. Infocyte comes out, though. Now they know.
He's looking for that shot on the Fraggy, but Fraggy goes, oh, you're going to play me like that? As Linkser punishes Depp for trying to do that to Fraggy. Tayo, meanwhile, hiding on the left-hand side, holding the pulse bomb, gets stunned. Taimu having none of it, and the pulse bomb was wasted.
Yeah, at the same time there, Depp showing a bit of inexperience. Popping that Infocyte, he's not going to have it moving into the second attack.
And Finland, they're holding pretty far up here. What's the difference between defenses on this map that hold this far up versus ones that go a little bit further back?
Well, I think it's really difference between Dive and tanks Winston and Reinhardt. Linkser with this Winston on his team is going to be much more threatening on the high ground. Depp's going to find it very hard to take similar positions because Fraggy and Zappis are going to be constantly in his face.
Linkser looking for a pickoff. Would like to get a backliner, but a tank is good as well. Zappis gets Samurai D early on. Fraggy now, Bravo raging to the back. Again, just making space. Oh, he found Depp. I don't know if he knew Depp was there or not, but he's looking for the juggle. Doesn't quite get it, but Japan now in overtime. They need to keep you on the point. Depp was somehow able to get Linkser and all that, but Chaz retaliates. Taimu in the back. Rocket Flail playing in the damage into the Diva, gets the D-Mech, and suddenly Finland starting to take control of this fight. They just need to get 2 more eliminations. Zappis gets more than that. Blows Japan to smithereens. And that's going to be Finland holding here on PC.
What a perfectly timed stun combo from Taimu, just waiting with the cooldown, doesn't use it early, waits for the self-destruct, and just as it's about to pop, he stuns the Rhine, drops that barrier, and everybody falls on the side of Japan. Although, great push from Japan, overtiming the first 2 points, managing to get to third point. This is still a winnable scenario for them.
Japan, of course, even though they might not have any paths to BlizzCon any longer, they still want to put on a good showing. These are players where, you know, we talk to them in the pre-match interviews before we start playing to get an idea of the teams. And one of the questions I'd ask every team is, do you guys want to go to Overwatch League? Every single team said, yes, we want to be in OWL. So even if they had a rough go here so far in the tournament, even if they can't get to the very end, they still have a lot to play for, both not just national pride, but also just showing that they have what it takes.
And at the same time, Japan, having taken a map off Russia in their series, now Finland must get this 4-0 to differentiate themselves. They want to give Russia an even taller mountain to climb when they face South Korea later today.
Oh yeah, right now I'm sure Russia, as they watch this match, they are Japan's biggest fans going, please, bloody the Finns, give us a better path for what we want to do later today, because of course they're still going to have a very strong showing against South Korea, but they need a bit of help from Japan now.
Finland here on this double sniper setup, I think very dangerous on attacking Gibraltar. Japan looking to actually commit to the Doomfist here. This doesn't seem like a fake. The clock is running low. I think we'll see the Doom out of Depp and the Genji out of Tayo. Going back to this Lucio Brigitte support composition, the same thing we saw on Ilios Ruins. This could work really well here. It could also fizzle out entirely. It's all on that speed boost initiation.
Of course, this is one of those things where it's feast or famine, right? You either completely wipe the other team or you just get completely crunched. There's not a lot of in between.
And with a lack of the main healer like a Mercy or an Ana, it's really all about the ultimates for the side of Japan. That's what gives them the sustain to last for these long fights. For the side of Finland, they just need to not get caught. Eventually, Linkser and Taimu will find a pick, and that's where they cap first point.
Already, Taimu taken down. Didn't expect Saba to be there at all. It's a train wreck strategy coming in from Japan. Depp dives in deep, and yet Shaz goes, all right, I'm not actually scared. I'm going to return fire. Finland now diving back the other way. Shaz, the primary damage as a support, taken down 2. Finland, they've dealt with this initiation from Japan quite well.
Very quick reactions on the side of Finland. Backing up into their spawn, Depp landing the punch on Linkser, but with no back wall, he can't finish the kill. Now switching on to the Widowmaker, knows that he has to oppose the double snipers. Doomfist a lot weaker once you lose that surprise factor.
The problem for Japan, though, they don't have the positioning that a defense normally would here. Finland is covering every spawn door, and it's going to be tough for Japan. You see Samurai D leap in, but he already gets chunked, flared down. Linkser found him. Tayo, though, gets the revenge, and Tayo's doing a little bit more, picks off 2, and Japan has put themselves back in the driver's seat.
It's working out for Japan. That speed boost, getting them into the server room, getting on those snipers, and just denying them any shots there. Both going down quickly to Tayo. Props to him. Now he's got the Dragon Blade to work with. And Shaz, only on 70% Transcendence. This could be rough.
And of course, the key here, I mean, you mentioned the Dragon Blade, and it's exactly right, where Finland, what are you going to deal with it? I guess Linkser could just land the arrow of his life. Oh, Tayo 1 HP! The Dragon almost did enough! Linkser, though, out of the fight. Sama found a time to dive in on him, but while Tayo's so low, he's not able to join the fight, and as a result, Finland doesn't have to worry about the blade as much, and Shaz now has the Transcend.
And with the Transcendence, no damage boosting abilities, Tayo can only attack players outside of the Transcendence.
Well, he was able to get Taimu, forces out the Transcendence, but that might be where it ends. Finland still looking pretty good. Yeah, they're down to Widow, but they got everyone else. Fraggy going deeper, just laying in the damage on the Sama God. And this is looking quite good for Finland here as they're going to get the payload moving towards point A. And Japan, can you even get to the payload in time? Can you stall? Tayo certainly does, but he's likely going to be giving up his life to do it.
Yeah, this is a good play by Tayo, though. He buys time for supports to escape. Fraggy very deep on the supports, getting caught out by Claire. Nice poop from him, pulling Fraggy deeper than he expected to be.
I also think for Fraggy, though, is that his main goal was to make sure people were looking at him and not on the idea of coming back onto the point. So I think Fraggy was okay with that.
If you're Finland, you're very happy with this, although losing your Winston makes it tougher to make this first push work. As we've said, the first push so important here, and Depp finding Linkser, this could be bad for Finland.
Japan, they have the tools they need to get that defensive repositioning here at point B, that very difficult point, although Tayo went a little bit deep, and suddenly this gives Finland the opportunity to reverse course, put the pressure back to Japan, and at the very least, they'll force Japan to use the barrier.
And Finland supports constantly healing there. Both tanks taking so much damage. Claire committing the beat, going extremely aggressive on the backline of Finland. Double support all out from the side of Japan.
It only hit 3 people. I'm questioning if that was worth it. Saba just used the Transcend, so Japan, both support ults are gone, and yet Finland doesn't really seem to care. Finland wasn't wiped out by that usage of ultimates. Instead, they just backed out, they re-engage, and Japan has nothing left in the tank as Shaz and Fraggy continue to set the tone.
Tayo has no more dash resets, getting chased down by Fraggy. Fraggy now on Sabagod, looking to finish off this Zenyatta.
And we have the play it out from Tayo, but he had nowhere to go. He had no supports. Finland, the entire team just turns out to go, oh, you really got to bring out the blade here? Yeah, this is a no sharp zone.
Shaz not even forced to use his Transcendence, ready to close out second point with it. Now, time with the Infra Sight. We've seen this situation time and time again. Japan is running to their deaths here. You can see Taimu railing off headshots through that tiny gap in the boxes.
Yeah, that's just one of those spots that you see players use where you go, is this a thing? Oh, he almost got the Tracer, it was close. But he's going to back up. He's looking for their turn shot in case the Tracer tried to chase him down. So Taimu's on that end. Finland, the rest of them towards the payload right now. Transcend coming up from Chaz. They're going to be committing more. Japan a little bit away from that, but Def got Taimu. Now it's a 6-on-5 for Japan. Saba getting real close to the Transcend. It's 99%, and this could turn the fight. He's so close. Transcendence up. He should be using it here in a moment. This could be what Japan needs. The Transcendence going to be engaged, and now Finland needs to give a little bit of space.
Yeah, both Widowmakers getting rest, but Def the one finding the kill. Big Goose with the Valkyrie, though. This could be very impactful. Claire without a Valkyrie to match. Although Taimu getting attacked by the Diva, he's forced to back.
Japan wasn't able to get any pickoffs during the Transcendence. It wasn't enough. Finland still had enough raw healing to make it a thing. Linkser, though, falls. Tayo got him on the slimmest of margins. Japan still fighting, even though no one has an HP. Everyone on Japan is so low, and yet Tayo still alive. looking for the Diva on the end, and Japan respawns, now starting to flood back in.
An incredibly close fight there, basically decided by those Widowmaker picks. So props to Depp, producing for his team, making so much space and not falling despite all that pressure.
Japan able to hold in what was a super close fight, and shout out to Sabagod. Key pickoffs and a transcendence in the nick of time to keep that fight going.
And now so many ults to work with on the side of Japan. That was a real hump that they had to get over. Looking to play spoiler here on Gibraltar is Depp. Taimu though, with the armor stack, very hard to oppose.
You see Taimu trying to get Depp. Depp going, okay, I'm actually not going to go for that. Saba though, he's built up another transcendence, two, one after another.
Sabagod being very impressive on this Zenyatta, hard to pick off, but Fraggy finds depth. This is a major opening for Taimu.
Saba's down! Saba got picked off before transcending! That's huge for Finland. Fraggy had an excellent engage, and now Finland, it's all men on the point. Saba gets res, he's gonna immediately transcend, but he's gonna be transcending to a team that's weakened, a team that's bloodied, and Finland, they're investing everything now to the fight.
Zappis finds Claire, no more mercy. Now Sabagod's down. That's all the heals on the side of Japan. Finland is doing it. They're going to camp second point here. Linkster with so much staying power on the point with this Brigade.
Japan was so close to that second point hold, a minute 55 left, and yet there's still an outside chance here, Jake, that they could do Russia's bidding in a sense and hold Finland back. They have a chance.
Fraggy, though, standing exactly where he needs to be with the box of victory so close on the side of Finland. This Primal Rage could be incredibly impactful. No tank ults on the side of Japan. It'll be very hard for them to stay on point when Fraggy gets angry.
All right, Finland, they need this fight. A minute 30 left. They're only going to get about 2 good attempts at Japan. They're drained. This is no better chance for now than Finland. And we see Fraggy. Oh, they don't get the point! Japan doesn't touch the point. Finland takes it 4-0.
You hate to see it.
Oh.
But on the side of Finland, though, very, great presence of mind by Fraggy. He understands that the victory is so close at hand. It's time to get very aggressive. Japan's backline has no choice but to retreat. You can't walk into a Winston that's attacking you like that, and with that much pressure going on, it's easy to slip up and miss that contest.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, we could look towards Japan and go, why weren't you on the point? But then Fraggy just carries an aura of intimidation. I almost think that that is a credit to Fraggy, just getting in their face, knowing he had the Primal in reserve, and in the end, he wasn't even angry.
Yeah, exactly. Not even forced to use that Primal Rage until after the slow-mo cam. So an unfortunate way to close the series if you're Japan. But Finland taking that 4-0 victory, that differentiates them from Russia, finding only 3 map wins against Japan. Now Russia has an even tougher test ahead of them when they face South Korea later today.
Finland did what they needed to do here, where we talked to them in the run-up to this, and they said, look, we want to go to BlizzCon. We want to improve from where we were at last year. We believe we belong at BlizzCon, and so far, they're proving it.
I mean, this is what we expected from Finland. They are a full roster of Overwatch League caliber players, and we've seen how that patience is paying off for them time and time again. We saw on so many defenses, they were so slow, careful, prodding, always harassing, always putting pressure on the backline, but not committing to fights, forcing Japan to make the first move and burning so much clock time. That's why Japan was only capping in overtime, and Finland usually had a little bit of time to spare.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be doing it for us in the preamble here, but we're going to be taking a look at the floor where we got Big Goose with Malik.
All right, I got my man Big Goose of Team Finland here. Now, this team, Japan, they have some pretty formidable DPS players like Depp and Tayo. Did you guys prepare specifically any strategies for these 2 players, or did you kind of just play your own game coming into this one?
Yeah, we definitely prepared a bit against their DPS, but our main goal was to just play our own game and with our own game, we have a really good chance of winning.
Right. You guys did excellent in that. In fact, now you play for the LA Gladiators, and that team has quite a few different languages on the comms. So how relieving has it been as a support player to be able to play and communicate seamlessly with your teammates?
It's definitely a lot easier. Yeah, it's just a lot easier, less complicated, and everyone understands the same words and stuff like that.
Right. Now, moving on, at the end of the day, you guys have that big matchup against Chinese Taipei, but your fate is kind of going to be decided based on some of the other matches, too. So will you guys be sitting down and watching Russia's matches like they're playing against Chinese Taipei? They're going to be playing against Finland, or excuse me, not Finland, but they're going to be playing against South Korea later. Are you going to be watching those matches, or are you going to be preparing for your match against Chinese Taipei later on today?
I think we are going to watch the South Korea versus Russia a bit, but I think mainly we just have to prepare for our own match, just try to get as many map wins as possible.
Yeah, you're better than me, because I would be glued to my seat watching all those matches. But anyway, thank you very much, Big Goose, and congratulations on the victory. With that, Finland will be playing later on today against Chinese Taipei, but we're going to go ahead and break down the match and send it on back over to the casters.
You know, Finland, you've earned a little bit of rest where they've put themselves in a good spot. They have a match later today, but right now, they got to be feeling good about where they're at.
Doing exactly what's expected of them, finding these 4-0s against teams that are arguably a little bit weaker in the standings. They need to secure that second place position to punch their ticket to BlizzCon.
And of course, we'll see how the matches unfold later in the day. But, you know, a few thoughts here as we take a look at the game and what we saw here today. We saw Zappis have just very good protection again, where he's been a core backbone to this team.
I mean, this was the story of the first two maps. Zappis always in the Ferris face, never giving her room. We saw Samurai D so effective on this Hammond swap, getting a lot of value against the quad tank before Taimu selects the Sombra.
So meanwhile, of course, we know him for a sit scan, but he can play a pretty mean Zarya as well when it's required, and we saw it there in the quad tank setup.
Sabagod with his great blistering paced first offense here. Not finding too much in that clip though. Linkser with the backline stick, picks the Ana, and drops Claire low for Taimu's finish as well. Linkser on this Tracer so effective on Eichenwald.
I mean, if you kind of go, okay, where's Linkser? Do I know where he's at? Well, he's probably in your backline, and that's where he was pretty much the entirety of Eichenwald defense.
And here again, we see nice positioning, catches Taio's Samurai D unaware, and then goes even deeper.
Linkser, of course, this was his big 4K moment on Anubis where just, you know, defense, what do you need? You need a Linkser. It's fine.
And Deb here, though, with the walls, finding these crucial opening picks here to secure first point.
Deb definitely had his moments here, but you could tell how much he was getting checked by the DPS of Finland, where he has the talent, and bursts like that definitely show why.
Linkser here, we see this emergency Doomfist so effective when the team isn't expecting it. It's so hard to check that tab when you're in those chaotic fights on second point.
You know, it's always good when you can flex a Doomfist, but here's his bread and butter, and here's what he uses to cut the bread. The blade comes out, and he just waited for his opportunity.
Yeah, such great plays to force those transcendences here. Taio on the Tracer, though, really impressing, going back to DPS and finding so much value here in this series. Not able to take a map win, but really getting a lot done, especially on that Tracer.
Yeah, and also I think Japan just looked better in general on Gibraltar. Even though they weren't able to take the map, they definitely pushed Finland to the limit.
Here we see Taimu, look, perfect bash combo. Oh, you can't time that better. Drops everybody on the side of Japan.
That's actually one of the best slow-mos I think I've ever seen, where it's just like, you have the slow-mo, bash, explode. Good stuff from Taimu.
One of the most classic combos, especially in the 3-3 composition. Not with the full 3-3 there, but we know how adept Finland is at especially those kind of combos. Bash Shatter, Bash Self-Destruct. They're so effective and so difficult to deal with if you're not ready.
And you know, Finland, and then for Taimu, he's just constantly laughing as it's going on. It's like, we just blew him up. This is greatest.
That's one of the real struggles of playing against Taimu. You know how much fun he's having when he's killing you, so it certainly hurts. And Japan really kind of falling apart there at the end. So much pressure from the Brigitte. It really felt like Brigitte was just an incredibly strong pick against the way that Japan wanted to play.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us. Now, next match coming up, it's going to be Chinese Taipei taking on Russia. You won't want to miss it.